I'm starting to realize that everything is impermanent. It's coming and going. I came into this life with nothing. I'm going to leave with nothing. And everything is also uncertain. That seems to be the only certainty. They say it's death and taxes, and death I can see, taxes I suppose. But we really can't know what's going to happen, can we? We can plan and organize and prepare, but when it comes down to it, we really just don't know. And the more willing I've been to accept that, the simpler everything has seemed to be. Call it going with the flow, surrendering to life, being open, being available. Feels like unattachment. And for a long time, I carried this weight of needing to know and figuring it out. And I thought it was working. Thought it was serving me. And maybe it was at the time. But then there came a point where everything shifted, and what once worked no longer seemed to work. It's as if that strength then became the obstacle, like a new level opened up. And there was this invitation to let go, to step up. But the thing is, it's also a kind of death, because that kind of growth is like being reborn. Because that old part of me, which is clinging and craving and needing certainty, it dies. We think that death is what happens at the end of our life, and it marks this passage into an unknown. But really, death is something that happens on a regular basis. There are these little deaths that happen every day. In fact, every moment contains a little death. Our body is constantly dying and growing. The cells of my body, after 7 years, are completely different, an entirely new body. And we've proven that on a physical level. This is just the manifestation of the mind, of consciousness, which is the only constant, giving rise to that impermanent flux, the coming and going, all forms, shapes, colors, light. And within that impermanence, there really doesn't seem to be anything stable or real. It's this continuum of shape-shifting. But what is it that's aware of that shape-shifting? Because there must be a constant that recognizes all that's changing. We can't recognize motion or the arising and passing of phenomena if there is not one stable point which is aware of all the change. And that is a sort of ground of being that once recognized becomes a form of stability and security. It becomes a sort of home, a refuge in the heart to witness all this movement and motion. So while on the surface of my personal experience, there's been a bit of struggle and conflict with this notion of impermanence, the more I rest and relax into that open space within where everything emerges from, I find more and more peace with that fact that I can't know, that nothing can be truly certain. And in that, there's great security and stability. That source that I am is unchanging and yet contains all the change. It seems that every branch of life inevitably ends with a paradox. It's that balance of being fully invested and engaged in the moment, in this experience now, with everything and everyone that it contains, while simultaneously being detached from the need to know what's going to happen or where any of this is going. And that's maybe the most beautiful paradox of all, is to be in the world, but not of the world.